Yes, we are live. Hey guys, good morning. It's the end of May. We had some technical difficulties this morning, but we are back, and it's the TED Show. I'm Ted Bogert. Welcome, and I want you guys to help me welcome Ken Greenberg. Thank you, Ken, for being patient. Good morning.
Good morning, Ted, and thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you on. Very excited to have you on. And I'm excited to talk about Zenavita, Emerald, all the Emerald organic products, Emerald Shield. But I'm also very excited to talk about this topic: sensible, sustainable, safe long-term solutions, which you've got a whole story, and we're going to share that. So welcome. And let's start with origin story. I think people love to hear a little bit about Ken Greenberg before we take a deep dive into everything else.
Perfect. I've been around, quite a while. Been here in Central Florida since 1997. I was recruited and an executive at Westgate with David Siegel, back in the day. I've got a long banking background, a long business and entrepreneurial background. I was with IndyMac Bank. We had the residential mortgage operation, was heading that back in the day when you couldn't make a mistake and you could get a loan by fogging the mirror.
I remember those days.
Oh, it was the Wild West. I mean, appraisal didn't mean anything because, I watched properties go up by the day, and sometimes by the hour, by the length of the line, actually, in some cases. Been involved in a lot of different things, and most recently, I'm the retired CEO of U.S. Hospitality Group. We build hotels. The last project is to be a 30-story Hilton dual brand down in Brickell, down in Miami.
Wow.
An embassy suite home too. We secured the permit. We started from the finding the dirt all the way through the entitlements, all the way through the permitting, and then actually decided I wanted to retire. So I sold out my development rights. And fortunately, that wire cleared about 2 weeks before the pandemic hit.
Wow.
Otherwise, I might still be the CEO of U.S. Hospitality.
What made you want to retire from that?
Oh, dude, I'm getting old. I enjoyed my life with my family up here in Winter Springs, Florida. I'm a former city commissioner, former 3-time chairman of the Lighting and Beautification District, 2-time vice chair of Parks and Rec. So I've been very involved in my community and very much enjoyed that. And last July, to bring this more fast forward, let me just get this video out of my eyes. To bring it more fast forward, my son said, "Dad, we should look at CBD." I said, "What is that?" And he explained to me what CBD was. And ironically, someone came to me with a potential deal for CBD, to get involved in the retail end of it and what have you. Didn't like the situation, but did like the business. Bearing in mind in 2018, it was a $600,000 industry. By 2024, it's supposed to be a $400 billion industry. So I said, well, this is good. And then put together a team that was unbelievable. My marketing team came from probably the largest in the industry. My head of marketing, our IT department is second to none. One of our guys owns an actual studio in Longwood, so we do all our own commercials and do all our own things that you would normally have to pay a lot of money to have done. We're able to get them done internally. And came across, and a company contacted us because they heard about us, and they had some products we were very, very interested in. More specifically, they were in the vending. One of the divisions they had acquired was a vending machine company, and they were going to want to put CBD in vending machines, which is effectively we would call the new version of brick and mortar.
That's that's so fascinating.
Oh, you have no idea, because these machines, which we are now producing, they have facial recognition. Therefore, if you have to have a driver's license, passport, or government issued ID tied into global. And if your face does not match the ID, that machine won't work for you. Period. End story.
Wow.
And So he said, listen, I come out of the hotel industry. I kind of know most of the major hotel management companies, and this would be a really good income producing stream and value add for the hotel industry. So I
Right.
said, they said, well, we like what you're doing. We like your IT department, and your marketing department is like second to none. I mean, literally second to none. Why don't you consider selling half your company to us and merge into Emerald Organics? Sounds like a good idea to me. Nothing like knowing where the back door is, walking in the front door. And Emerald is doing well, and we're about to, in my opinion, experience some very, very tremendous growth, because Emerald, not only did they have a full line of vitamins and nutraceuticals, and understand how to get shelf space and everything, but in the last 3 months, we acquired one of the largest telemed operations in the country. Followed it up by acquiring the largest digital online pharma that will deliver your drugs, your prescriptions or lifestyle drugs or any of that sort, to any house in America within 3 hours and at wholesale prices. And we do, in fact, take insurance as well. Marry that with the wellness kiosk, where now as a subscriber with doctors, we can actually put certain drugs in the machines and give you a code to go down to the lobby and go get them, or direct you someplace.
Wow.
So that whole end of it we tied together. And we're working projects now with several of the large municipalities, where they want to use this product, the telemed, the RX, and potentially the wellness kiosks, but certainly the telemed and the RX. They want to use it as an employee benefit, even those that have insurance, because quite frankly, we could provide a real live doctor, not an assistant or someone who wants to be a TV doctor, but a real doctor that can actually see you, prescribe, and have that drug delivered all within a 3-hour span. So a lot of cities and a lot of people are either underinsured or no insurance, or their co-payments are much higher than what we will be charging the municipalities to take care of an individual and or their family up to 5. And we're rolling this same program out with some extra bells and whistles across the country, starting in Ohio next week, and then we'll take it across the whole country. So
I have many questions.
And I have many, many answers, because I haven't even gotten to the solution to open up business yet.
I want to ask you, how does somebody make because we're always looking for ways for people to make a leap into something that they want to do. And you came from the hotel industry, the hospitality industry, basically building hotels. How do you jump into a business that on the surface looks so completely far removed from what you were doing, and are able to turn it into such a success? What kind of tools did you use? What did you bring with you? Or did you just go, you know what? I'm this old and I just want to do what I want to do, and this looks fascinating to me.
Those that know me well know that I don't take shots in the dark. Everything I do is very calculated. If it's business, I'm not going to waste time unless there's a significant income stream, probability, not potential, but probability. I'm a former investment banker. I was a managing director of several investment banking houses. So there were weeks that I would see 100 different deals and hope that one of them was worth a darn. So I'm used to being able to ferret out a real deal from someone's smoking hopium, if you will. So when I knew we could drive this just as a CBD company. We knew we could drive this just in that alone. But then when Emerald Organics started acquiring, wellness, I mean, really bringing in some significant wellness via the telemed, which, by the way, just last week I was watching CNBC. They predict that to be a $500 billion industry. So my CBD at $24 billion doesn't look so bright anymore, being facetious, obviously. But we have the whole, if you will, total package. Follow it up by the pharma, because there are a lot of different telemeds out there. For example, Teladoc is trading somewhere north of $180 a share, and they only lose $100 million a year. We, on the other hand, don't lose money. So I don't know what they're doing, but I know what we're doing.
What's the secret to that, Ken? I've experienced telemed, and I think one of the biggest obstacles as a patient was the doctor was incredibly limited to what they could talk about.
Yeah.
And so I spent my whatever my minimal copay was, not a big deal. And then they were basically like, well, we can't really help you. We're not calling it a prescription, and you need to go see your doctor. And so there's you almost feel defeated and worried when you go into that, like, is this even worth my time? But I know it's changed. There's different companies. And
Oh,
so,
it's changed. It's changed dramatically, Ted. And in our particular case, the doctors can prescribe and do, and then we deliver. And that really is, I guess, what the secret sauce is to us, is that we've been able to close the loop on that. Now, how did this really, in our mind, because I know you're thinking the question, so let me preempt that question. What was your vision when you acquired the telemed and the pharma? And the vision was, I was going back in the hotels, truthfully, because we deal with a lot of, I'm in Orlando, and our home base, for our company is New York. The only other one that we're left out is Las Vegas, if you think about it, because those are the three hotspots for travel. We bring a lot of, Europeans, especially Brits and Germans, into Orlando. You come here, you get sick. If you're staying out near Disney, you're at Lake Buena Vista, go look at the emergency clinic or the minute clinic, some evening, and you see a line down the block, everyone trying to go through there. They have no insurance that's worth anything here because they don't have insurance here. Some of those minute clinics and whatever, I mean, my son went in there for nothing. Next thing I know, we got a bill for $1,700 with his insurance. So they're not exactly a bargain. So our vision was go into the hotels, and at low cost to the hotels, not to the people initially, but to the hotels, provide an Emerald Shield of, providing the telemed, marrying it with the prescription. And this way, if someone from England got sick, they had their own doctor now that they could speak to, and they could get their prescription. If little Johnny on holiday, got a bad earache, what do you do? Do you kill the vacation? Do you go home? Or do you get it resolved? And that's what we do. We're solutions oriented in that particular case. And they have the security. Now what's happened is we have a whole division that's grown. I can't even begin to give you the numbers because it's scary. We're now selling a telemed prescription card overseas through the various travel procurers, and they're selling that. So when they come here, they now have the security of a card that's got their telemed and pharma on it should they need it, whether they're in a hotel, an Airbnb, or staying at a friend's house. They now have the ability to talk to a real live doctor and get a solution. Now, having said that, if little Johnny breaks his arm, you're going to the hospital. I can't fix an arm over the phone. You have to figure out how to do that. But just all in all, we've created a solution, and in the larger resorts, we'll place a wellness kiosk so that they'll have the ability to even get their blood pressure, get their pulse, and be able to get some standard, whether it's a Z-Pack or something like that. We'll have a whole wellness thing, which, by the way, will also come with our CBD products, our Zenavita products. So,
let me ask you about the Zenavita. I've had a lot of guests on that either are proponents or advocates or work in the CBD field.
Okay.
Have you felt like the barriers have come down as you're dealing with the municipalities, for example? Have the barriers begun to come down? Is it more accepted? Are you still having to jump through hoops because we don't have any real federal regulations in place?
Wait, there is no hoops, and it's legal in all 50 states as long as you have less than 0.03% THC, and ours reads as non-detectable, so we don't even have 0.03% THC. So it's fully legal everywhere. And I got to tell you something. I can't speak for everybody's, because there's a lot of, how do I say it's nicely, garbage out there that what's in the bottle is not really, a quality product. Our gummies have won awards for not only best packaging, but also best flavors, especially our watermelon one. I happen to have, here's what our packaging looks like for the Pure Vita. So it's really nice. And here's like these are my favorite. These are the gummy bear ones. There we go. They're like the sour, type like gummy bear. I really, really enjoy those.
Those look good.
Well, and our bottling is exceptional. Our label is we switched the name from Pure Vita to Zenavita, and as I said, the SEO Pure Vita. If you ever go on and try to do Pure Vita, you're lucky if you get to page 12. With Costa Rica, everything Pure Vita this, Pure Vita that. So on the CBD line, we converted over to Zenavita. Zen life, peaceful life.
No, I love it.
Great
Let me
name, great logo.
I want to ask you about the sustainability because I don't want to miss that part of it, because I know you promoted it too when you were talking. Reopening is on everybody's mind. Sustainability, sensible, safe, long-term solutions, I think is what we have down there. But I think people don't understand what that means.
Well, we haven't even talked about that yet.
Yes. So, but I don't think people get, they're out and about and there's either complete, utter social distancing or there's absolutely no social distancing happening at all. And people are having a hard time maneuvering through, which I think is holding people back.
Right.
So talk about your perspective, and then what do you see as some sustainable, sensible solutions to this?
Well, let me put it to this way. There's a whole lot of, especially in the hotel world and in the retail world, I've listened to countless workshops from the Central Florida Housing and Lodging, from the American Housing and Lodging, from listening to the mayors down in Orange County, listening to theirs. And how do I say this nicely? They have no clue what they're doing. You got people making decisions that, frankly, don't know what the question is, let alone what the answer is. In many cases, I'm not trying to be smart or snarky or anything else, but they really don't know solutions. I could tell you several hotel brands, because I deal with the brands. Their solution is, well, use Lysol. In the case of the Hilton flag, Lysol's paying them a bloody fortune to brand Lysol as the solution. Let me tell you, Lysol is a damn good product. Use it in my house, and it will kill 99.9% of all the germs when you put it down. And then when it dries, there's nothing left. It's whatever's there is now dead, but there's no residual. So what do you do? Every 10 minutes you got to re-Lysol, which isn't practical. Not to mention the fact that you're going to smell like a hospital. So what we have is a multiple combined solution. Number one, we have our disinfectant. Number one, it's odorless. Number two, it's EPA, and in our case, it's also FDA approved for food service. Number three, and here's a big defining difference. It's got a 90-day residual in it. In other words, if I put it down, it basically bonds with any dry surface and basically becomes antimicrobial for up to 90 days. Now, if you're in a high trafficked area, I would go back in and probably do it every 30 days for a little application, 60 days. I wouldn't necessarily stretch the limits of 90, but it's rated to last 90 days. So you get, I've listened to these solutions, well, how many people are we going to allow in an elevator? Who's going to push the buttons? Are we going to have somebody, an employee there at $15 an hour or so to press buttons on the floor? Are we going to set the elevators like they do in Israel on Saturday, that you stop at every single floor up and down? Are those viable solutions? Absolutely not. Does that make any sense? Certainly does not. What do? In our case, if you take our disinfectant and you rub down the the elevator panel, 90 days, no microbials can grow on there. You want to take it one step further, talk about sustainability. We manufacture our own, a hand sanitizer, an alcohol base, also kills 99 point whatever, because they all do. I mean, alcohol will kill. Let's 70% more or not. You don't need rocket science to know that. We put a twist. We took the same, our solution for the 90-day residual disinfectant. We also have that in a hand sanitizer where it'll last on your hands. Technically, I will tell you 24 hours, and unless you aggressively, wash your hands like you're supposed to do, in which case you reapply it. Realistically, you're good for 6 hours. So the answer is, are gloves good or not? Well, to me, you touch something. We were at a restaurant the other night in the car doing pickup because my wife is still of the I am not going inside a restaurant, mode. Killing me because I'm a big lunch guy.
Me too. Me too.
So anyway, you see them, they're wearing gloves, but they open the doors to go in and out. They're touching everything. And if you think for some reason that these viruses and bacteria and microbes aren't sticking to the glove better than they'll stick to your hand, then you're dreaming. So with our solution, and again, if people want it, fine. If they don't want it, that's fine too. But our hand sanitizer actually has antimicrobial properties to it. So for 6 hours, nothing can grow on your hand. So now we've talked about 2 of our 6 items. Number 1, we've got the 90-day, electrostatic. It doesn't even have to hit. That's the other secret. We can do it electrostatic, but it doesn't have to go electrostatic because it bonds and forms a positive ion, event. So I can put it on with a Windex bottle. I could use a regular, like a yard one, or I can use a fogger type of thing, a mister. The answer is it's going to work all 3 of them ways, and it's going to last for 90 days. So
these aren't just for big corporations. Individuals can purchase, correct?
Well, we haven't gone to the individual residential market because the market is so huge, for getting businesses open and what have you. The answer is if you sprayed your house with it, yes, it's going to work in your house. Yes, it'll work in an apartment. Yes, it'll work anywhere. But we've been focusing on and building sales teams, to go after, the immediate, social issue, which is where you have groupings of people. Most houses, like in my case, we don't have people over in my house anymore while this is going on. So, we don't really have an issue of, bringing in the bacteria, the germs. And my wife is very diligent on, keeping the counters clean. And every time I walk the dog, go wash your hands. Why? Because I said so. We all have that. I said so.
You have to listen, Ken. You just have to listen.
I do. And I haven't quite got the yes dear thing down perfectly yet. But I'm 64 next month. I'm optimistic by 65.
Nice. You look good.
but anyway,
I'm thinking about the sanitizer in specific because I know I'll have questions about this.
Yes.
Can somebody go and purchase the sanitizer as an individual, or does it have to be for a company?
It's not a product that we look to sell, as an individual to the house. What we've been doing is we're building crews, and we'll have one price. If let's say a restaurant or a hotel deep cleans and has been deep cleaning since they've had nothing to do for so long. If they deep clean, we can just go in and spray, and that's at a reduced price. If we have to send a crew in to deep clean and then spray, then it's a different price. We have not gone into the residential market at this point, at this time. Let me also
for all you guys asking, that's the answer.
Yeah, we have not. We have some other really cool things that, you may want to, well, the last one I'm going to give you is the one that you're really going to have the most attention on. I know it because everyone does. But we also have the same product we've been able to, or the manufacturer has been able to play with. And we now have the ability to add, I believe it's 4 ounces in a laundry load, especially in a commercial laundry load. And no microbials can grow on sheets, towels, pillowcases, bedspreads for 50 washings.
Wow.
So now I'll tell you, having owned hotels and been around hotels and what have you, they always wash the sheets, they always wash the pillowcases, they always wash the towels and the washcloths. Rarely does every time a guest goes in and out, does somebody wash the bedspread or the blanket that was in the closet that you pulled down. So in this particular case, if they did wash it, and no antimicrobials. And by the way, a byproduct of the 90-day disinfectant, which is really cool, because of the electrocharging, it actually sterilizes. Let's say, God forbid, you have bed bugs or some infestation. It sterilizes them. It's not an extermination, so it's not going to kill them. But when a bed bug that lives for 35 to 45 days has lived its life course, all the eggs it lays can never hatch because they're not sterilized. So it's a way to end an infestation, just as by the way. So we also have a clean air solution that goes inside of the air handler, inside of there where the vents are and what have you. It's not your standard UV mister type of thing. It's a much more advanced technology. Tomorrow, one of these units is going for a ride all the way up to the International Space Station, and the aircraft going up is that good. It's used over in Asia and Europe and whatever. It's almost become a mainstay in the hospitals, including for their surgical units. We have partnered with, and we're going to be the exclusive exclusive distributor for that. And in fact, my wife, I was asking again, please, can we go to a restaurant just yesterday? And she went and read an article that said, and I'm not misquoting this. She said, well, restaurants turns out may not be the safest place because the bacteria and the viruses and all are in the air that's circulated. They may clean the tables, but it's still in the air. Our solution, our clean air, HVAC insert, removes everything from the air as well. Works for a hospital, sure as heck will work for a restaurant or a retail store or something like that. And hospitals are typically a lot bigger than any store you're going to be walking into. Right. But here's the Mac Daddy that you're going to like and you're going to have the most questions on. We have become the exclusive distributor of a disinfecting tunnel. And what it is, it comes in 3 models, but the one that's going to be the most, widely used, for standard use will be about 4.5 feet wide by 6 foot wide. You put it at the entrance, inside or outside, preferably inside, and you walk through it for a total of 5 seconds is the whole process. It administers a hand sanitizer. It will take your temperature, and you get a light misting of an antimicrobial, a product that basically will kill any germs, bacteria, or viruses that are on your body, on your clothes, your shoes, or whatever. It's a very light misting. You don't walk out wet. It's not like, you're taking a shower going through. In fact, the misters are very similar. Ever sit on a patio and, sit under, it's a hot day and they got the fans blowing the misters? And you can sit under that. You're not walking away wet by any stretch of any imagination. You feel a light mist. Well, that's what this is. And it's that, we're not reinventing technology on misters. We've just created the application for hand sanitizer, taking your temperature, and disinfecting you. So when you walk in. Now, if somebody walks in sick and coughs on somebody, you're getting sick, or at least potentially. Right. We can't cure something.
Will your wife feel better if she walks through one of those at a restaurant?
I'm optimistic she'll feel better. I'm not putting one at the front door.
I'm surprised. I was going to ask you that next. Is there one at the front door? There's got to be.
Well, front door of a restaurant, front door of a retail store. That's a single model. We have a model that's made out of, believe it or not, the big ones are made out of actual containers. We have a 20-foot model and we have a 40-foot model. So if some of our wise decision makers decide that maybe kids should go through that, funnel through a single entry, to go to a school or something like that, on the 40-foot model, we can, at 5 seconds a pop. So we say 10 seconds by the time someone goes in and someone goes out, do 6 a minute. So we can process, quite a lot of people, through the big tunnels. For stadiums and everything, and we are talking, and we're at the inner circle right now of one of the major sports leagues that has an extreme interest in this, and we're also talking individual to some of the other sports, major sports, team specific. One is the whole league, the other one is sports teams. And I said, well, maybe
anything that we can do to get back to the normal will be, or whatever the normal looks like. And I have to wrap us up. So tell me how people can reach out if you have a restaurateur, a hotel person in charge, of course, somebody who's interested in what you shared. And then on the CBD side, what's the best way for people to look you up and look up all the wonderful things you're doing?
Well, there's actually 2 ways. On the sustainable items we talked about, from the tunnels to the disinfectant to all that, the hand sanitizers and all. If you go to emeraldshield.com, Our contact information is there, or on the contact page. If you put your contact, well, through our phone tree, you'll get responded to rapidly. For the CBD products, it's Zenavita, Zenavita.com, Zenavita.com. Same thing. There's phone numbers there, or if you put your contact. If you're looking to be a home-based business and want to distribute Zenavita products, we are fully prepared to handle that. We have the whole back end built and ready to work on wholesale accounts. We actually have a business in a box where for about $10,000 you're getting $30,000 worth of products in one box with all the main products that you would possibly need. So again, totally solutions oriented.
So EmeraldShield.com and Zenavita.
EmeraldShield.com and Zenavita.com. Yes, sir.
All right. You've been a joy, Ken. Thank you so much. That was fascinating. I have lots of groups I'm going to share this show with because I think they'll all be fascinated by this. Thank you, my friend, for coming on.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate the opportunity to spend the morning.
I hope you and your wife get out soon.
Well, one of us is going to go out soon.
All right, guys. We'll see you. Thanks so much, Ken.
All righty. Take care, Ted.